All right. Good evening and welcome to the first Thursday Night Live. For now, why don't we just call this Hanging Out on the Porch? So I plan to do this every Thursday night. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's chat. Feel free to write your questions, your thoughts, anything on your mind down in the chat, and I will try and address those as I see them pop up. So, maybe some of you don't even know where I am. So let's start there. I'm in Oklahoma. Right now, it's actually pretty cold in Oklahoma. This week has started off pretty brutally cold. It got a little bit warmer, and now it's going to go back down into cold temperatures again for the weekend, which is interesting because I actually had a fun video that I was planning to record for you this weekend. But if it gets really cold, we might have to take a pause on that one, and I might need to just shuffle things around a little bit and do a different one than what I had planned to record this weekend. But that's okay, because we're going to figure it out. So, hey, did you see the Reptilian Nation Expo video that I dropped yesterday? Talk about being outside my comfort zone. This is the second time I went to a reptile expo, and reptiles are not my thing. And it seems like a lot of you watching these videos are very much into reptiles. So I would love to hear your opinion on this, because I can tell you, I don't get it. Reptiles are just, to me, scary. But hey, that's what it is. So if you watch the video, you definitely saw me outside my comfort zone, even though I was trying hard to deal with it. You saw that giant, I think it was the giant tortoise. That was $3,500. There are some snakes up in that price range too, like $3,000 for a snake. And then scorpions for sale and millipedes. Come on. Why? And I know I asked that question a lot during the video, but I mean, I'm not kidding. The exterminator came here to my home 2 days ago, and I have a deal with the exterminator. You spray the outside of the house so that you never have to have bugs inside the house, and you never have to spray chemicals inside the house. And he does a really good job, because we very rarely see bugs in the house. So I'm happy to pay that money to keep the bugs out. But then I go to something like the Reptilian Expo, and I see these giant millipedes. And these giant millipedes, to me, are creepy and disgusting. But the guy selling them says people buy these for pets. Why? Who out there is buying these as a pet? I would love to hear your opinion on why you're buying them as a pet, and what do you do with them other than creep people like me out? Also, snakes. So I know people who have snakes, and I pretty much ask them the same question, and I never feel like I get an adequate answer. But why do you keep pets as a snake? Like, from my point of view, you buy this expensive snake, you put it in a glass cage in a aquarium or a terrarium or whatever you call those, and then it just slithers around in there. I mean, I kind of get the dog. The dog will come. It can fetch a ball. I can pet it. I can play with the dog. The dog feels more interactive to me than a snake, and definitely more interactive to me than a millipede. Ooh. I'm honestly just getting kind of like creeped out about the millipedes just thinking about them. That is how far outside my comfort zone I am. So really, if you have a snake, a millipede, a tarantula, I mean, any of those things as a pet, why? Please write it down in the comments or the chat below, because I would like to know. And if you have something to say or a question, I'll respond to those comments or questions. Even after the fact, go ahead and write those in there, and I'll respond back to you. Now, during the video, you saw there were two different places where there were alligators. I think they were alligators, not crocodiles, but they were one or the other. Did it scare you when it jumped out at you? I thought that was such a funny part of the video. And I'm not sure why somebody has these as pets either. To me, they're better than having a poisonous snake, but still the thing can chomp down on me and, well, finish me off pretty quick. I'm just an easy dinner that day. So I'm not sure I understand the alligator or crocodile approach either, because the thing wants to eat me. So I'm not going to go throw a ball for it and have it catch and come running back and bring me the ball. Probably not going to sit there and pet it. They don't look very soft. And all it has to do is turn its head and take a bite out of me. So I also don't understand the alligators and crocodiles. So if you've got one of those, let me know why and what you do with it, because I at least find those fascinating, but I still don't understand the draw to them. And then the turtles, they could be a little bit neat, a little bit more interactive to me, maybe because I'm slow and they're slow too. But I could see that they eat their leaves and they wander around. You can pick them up and move them. But a turtle seems like such a big commitment, or a tortoise, because I believe they live like over 100 years. So if you have one of those, what's the game plan? Because they're going to outlive you. Do you eventually give them away, or do you resell them? How does that work? So I'm curious. So, just why do people have these as pets, and why? I know I've asked that question a lot tonight already, and I said it quite a few times in the video. Now, between the Reptilian Expo and the other one that I did a few months ago, which I forget the name of what that expo was, but between the two expos, I think the Reptilian Expo had a better variety of creatures. The other one seemed to be ball python, ball python, ball python, ball python. That seemed to be what the other one had. This one, yes, it had ball python, but it had a better assortment of other things. It even had those red iguanas. I think the red iguana fell out of the tree at the beginning of the video because the expo hall was cold. At least that's what the seller said. It's cold, so the iguanas are falling out of the tree that they were in. But there were a lot more interesting things. They had that. They had the alligators. They did have scorpions and spiders and things like that. But I felt like the variety was better. And being in OKC for the first time for Reptilian Nation, the expo had some extra room because it wasn't as crowded, probably because it was the first Reptilian Nation in Oklahoma City. So they didn't have as many vendors. But getting in, there was a line of spectators, and they did two different entrance times for it. They did a VIP entrance time, which you could pay extra for and get there first. And that's probably so that you could buy creatures before creatures were sold to somebody else. So you had like first dibs on the most unique creatures. And then I think it was 10 o'clock was open to the general public. And that's when I went. And at 10 o'clock, there was a line waiting to get in there. I thought, we'd get there right away, get in, be able to film a lot of unique content, and me be outside my comfort zone, which is great. But there were a lot of people from Oklahoma City and I guess the surrounding areas who showed up to the expo, which was really kind of cool to see, especially for a new show coming into town. So anyone into reptiles, Reptilian Nation will probably be a bigger show next time. And I know Reptilian Nation does shows around the country, but the one in Oklahoma City, this was the first time. So it was really neat. And I liked the way they laid out the room. There was enough room to move around and see all the different things that were on display. Now, it was more expensive than the other show. This one, I believe it was $20 a person to get in, and Colton and I both went. So it cost me $40 to get into Reptilian Nation. Now, being that I'm not really into reptiles, I couldn't tell you if it was worth it for the creatures that were there. But I did, like I said a minute ago, I did like that they had a better variety of creatures. And I did see the highly bred snakes. So they had those. They had, actually, I think they had a better assortment of spiders now that I think about it. Those creep me out too. But they had some gigantic, hairy monster spiders. It's strange to me. But, you know, Who in here owns a reptile? I really would love to hear from you if you own a reptile. Now, I personally know a guy who's an exotic vet. And this really intrigues me because he's done surgery on tarantulas, like splinting legs back together. To me, a spider just needs to be dead. I mean, it's really fascinating listening to him talk about the things he does. He operates on snakes all the time. One of his favorite creatures, bearded dragons, things like that. Yeah, really fascinating. And I've gone to his clinic multiple times to see what he does. And, you know, prior to meeting him, I still don't understand, but I really didn't understand this whole exotic creature thing. But the amount of time and money that people invest in their creatures, whether they're spiders or snakes or iguanas or you name it weird, they invest a lot of time and money in it. So much so that he's not the only exotic creature doctor there is. There's lots of them apparently. And he's just one. And this is his full-time gig. And he's in a practice with multiple doctors who focus on exotic creatures. He said he does work on your normal cats, dogs, and bunny rabbits as well sometimes, but his main focus is on exotics. And so it is fascinating, and he really loves these things. And he tells me a snake bite doesn't really hurt. I don't need to find that out the hard way. I'll take your word for it that they don't hurt, because those little fangs in front, they look like they're going to hurt when that snake just spins around and bites me. Which brings me up to the point at the Reptilian Nation Expo. If you've watched that video, there was this one, I'm guessing it was at least a 6-foot long snake that somebody was playing with and showing people. And at one point it whooped around and tried to bite the person next to him. I don't know that that's a good snake to just be having out in the general public like that. I was really kind of shocked by that. And man, I'm surprised you didn't see me go running at that point with the camera on out of that room, because I certainly don't need to be bit. And I certainly don't need to be bit by a snake that big. That I just don't see ending well. That snake also was wrapping itself around the person holding it. To me, that's like a kill strategy. So I just think if they're going to do that, the snake that should be out should have a better temperament. At the last expo, I did hold a really big, I believe it was a python. I don't know what it was, which just freaked me out, but it was very calm. And it moved, which feels really weird to me when they move, but it wasn't jumpy. It didn't try and bite anyone that I saw while I was there. And it certainly didn't try and bite me while I was holding it. So if you're at one of these expos, I'd say be careful, because it seems like the sellers of these just think it's okay because they're used to these things being jumpy. They're used to them biting, and they get used to snake bites. But man, oh man, I'm not sure everybody in the room is looking forward to that happening. So be careful if you go to one of these shows. So if you watched the video yesterday, what was your most interesting moment from that video? What did you find most unique about that show? To me, it was the red iguanas. I found them fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And hey, you know what? If you want some Yankee on the Prairie merch, we've got it. There should be a link down in the description. So I'm just going to mention it now. I know we've got coffee cups, of which I'm not using one of those today. Actually, today I'm using Try Our Coffee. It's delicious. I really like this style coffee mug. And I don't have this style mug in our brand. They're hard to find. But I can buy them that say Try Our Coffee. It's delicious. Anyway, sorry, I digress. If you want some merch, we've got it. We've got the hoodies, both zip up and pullover hoodies. We've got t-shirts. Oh yeah, I got a Yankee on the Prairie t-shirt on. Now I know you see me wearing white ones, but we've got them in all colors. The hoodies, the t-shirts, we've got them in all colors. We've got the coffee cups. We've got the stickers. Ooh, just where is it? Right there we go. I got a sticker right there. So you could pick up Yankee on the Prairie stickers. So we've got lots of cool merch available. And if there's merch that you're looking for that you don't see on the merch store, let me know and I'll see what I can do about getting some of that kind of merch as well. So let's talk for a few minutes about like intentional living. So you saw me go to the Reptilian Nation Expo in yesterday's video, and you see me out and about in other videos. And I don't always talk about my family, but I'm married. I have a daughter and a son. My son is older, my daughter is younger. And one of my big goals is to be very intentional, especially to invest in my family. And this is something that weighs on me a lot because being a dad, you have to work and make money and pay the bills. You have to provide for your family. That's very, very important. But yet, a lot of times I see people sacrificing their family for their career. And it's frequently done under the mindset of, well, I have to work more to make more money to provide more for my family. But truthfully, your family needs you more than they need more stuff and more money. So I would encourage you watching to think about this on how you care for your family and spending more time with your family instead of more time working to make more stuff. I love spending time with my family. Most of these places that we go, actually, if you watch in the background the videos, you'll see my family. And maybe in future videos, I'll interact with them a little bit more. But like Reptilian Nation, Colt and I went because my wife and daughter were at a women's retreat that weekend. So Colton and I hung out for the weekend and we had a blast. We had a really good time. We did a lot of different things that weekend. And I find it so much fun to spend time with my wife, with my kids. I mean, I will never regret, I have not regretted yet spending this amount of time with my family and investing in them. And as your kids are growing up, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but your kids need you to be present more, not more money and more stuff. And sometimes that's as simple as you're home, you're hanging out at home, and your kids just know you're there. Sometimes it seems like they don't even realize you're in the room, but they realize and it matters to them. And it's really strange. And I can't explain it all, but I've done a little bit of homework on this psychology part of this. And time again, studies have proved that just being there, being present, and being available really helps shape a child. And I can tell you, my kids now, as they're getting older, my relationship with them is so great, especially compared to so many other families that I see out there. And I know a large part of that is because the amount of time that I invest in my family and the amount that I enjoy being with my family. And I can tell you for sure, I know some people who really seem to not enjoy spending time with their family, but I think there's a little bit of a mindset shift here that you could do because you're going to get more of what you focus on. And if you're always focusing on the negative and bringing it up, studies have shown that's what you're going to get because they're going to start to give you more of that. But when you focus on the positive things and bring that up, they give you more of that. And also for you, the more you dwell on the things you don't like, the more you realize the things you don't like. And the more you dwell on the things that you do like, the more you're going to realize the things that you do like. It's really strange how this works. But I can tell you in every stage of your life and every stage of your children's life, there are moments to enjoy. So focus on those. Like when a child is really young, like a baby, newborn baby, that seems to be one of the harder stages to me. It's all give and no, all take and no give, or something like that, where the child is so needy being a brand new baby because a baby can't survive on its own. So you've got to wash it, change its diapers, feed it. It's up all night screaming, keeping you from sleeping, and then it sleeps all day. And even in that phase of life, you can find moments of joy and you can focus on the joy that that little baby brings you. And then that baby's going to grow up a little bit and things are going to change. And then that baby's going to grow into a toddler and things are going to change. And then that toddler's going to grow into a young child and things are going to change. And every stage has some amazing moments to it and things that you can enjoy. So focus on those things that you can enjoy from every stage of raising your child instead of focusing on the things that you don't like. And one of the things that I hear people complain about all the time is the teenage years oh, just wait until the teenage years, or oh, the teenage years are so horrible. When you're focused on that, that's exactly what you're going to get. But both of my kids are teenagers and they're fantastic. I love spending time with them. And this stage of life is so different than when they were younger. So learn how to focus on the moments of enjoyment and the things that are great. And that doesn't mean don't deal with the times that aren't as enjoyable. Deal with it. And especially if like your kids are misbehaving, you have to address that. You can't just let that go and say, well, I'm enjoying every moment. No, 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 no. That's not reality either. So just focus on the good moments. And the more you focus on the things that you enjoy about your family, the more you're going to enjoy spending time with your family. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about that, on spending time with your family. What do you think about that? Because I love being with my family, and our family does a lot of things together. We're almost always together doing things. And I love it. I think it is a blast being with my kids, being with my wife. So, what are your thoughts? And then my next question for you, and you can drop these in the discussion, in the chat, in the comment section below. If you're watching this after the fact, definitely drop all of these thoughts in the comment section down below, because I do read these comments and I will respond back to many of them. But also for future videos, what are some things that you would like to see? We do have a planned trip coming up. It's not fully set in stone yet, but it's coming up, and I'm looking forward to filming a lot of that for you. But also, we are in Oklahoma, and there are so many unique things to do in Oklahoma that I'd love to take you with me to show you different things in Oklahoma. So what are your questions? And, while we're talking about Oklahoma for a minute, a lot of people think of Oklahoma as just a simple flyover state, and there's nothing here. Well, I can assure you there's a lot more here than most people realize. And most people think we're just cowboys and Indians. Well, that's not true either, but actually really cool. We do have cowboys, we do have Indians, and no, at least in Oklahoma, the Indians don't live on reservations. And here, the name can vary a little bit, and I'm not sure what the politically correct term is anymore. Sometimes they're First Americans, sometimes Native Americans, sometimes Indians. And I'm sorry, I don't know for sure which term is correct, but they live in normal houses, not on reservations, in normal neighborhoods. So there's a lot of misunderstanding about cowboys and Indians. Even though we have them everywhere here, they're just a normal part of life. And then we also have people like me, whether or not you call me a regular person. And then we have what you definitely would call regular people. And we have cities, we have suburbs, and we have rural areas. So Oklahoma is very, very diverse. Now, our landscape here is largely plains, but there are a few mountain areas that really change the idea of what Oklahoma is. So any questions you have about Oklahoma, go ahead and drop those down. And if you want to see a video on something specific, let me know. And I'll see if I can work that into the schedule of making a video for you to answer those questions that you have. All right, so that's all I've got for you tonight. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button, because I would love for you to join me on the next Thursday Night Live. So every Thursday night at 8 o'clock, I plan to be here live with you, answering your questions, chatting with you. And hey, we're just going to sit down, have a cup of coffee together, and we'll talk a little bit about the video that dropped the day before. We'll talk about life. We'll talk about whatever questions or thoughts you have. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much, and have a fantastic evening.